Hello, and welcome back to the solo Skull and Shackles Pathfinder stream, The Spear and the Sea. I am the GM, the PCs, and the NPCs. I'm Chris Bernal, and I am glad to be here. Cheers. I'm a little nervous yet again. This is uncharted territory, running a stream, not only just role-playing by myself, but running a stream in a TTRPG, a live play by myself. I think last week's was quite interesting and went fairly well, so I'm hoping that this week's is going to go well as well. And as far as that goes, let's recap. Sometime in the late month of Gozren, which is April, as far as Earth is concerned, on a fire day evening, our heroes found themselves in a tavern in the pirate capital of Port Peril. The tavern was named The Fortunately Made, and therein we found Spear a tall and weathered-looking man with dark hair, purple eyes, and gills alongside his neck, an Azarketi, or a gillman, known commonly. He was drinking himself silly while a certain gnome, Control W, close that. Great, thank you. A certain gnome was telling tales at the top of the bar. There we go. Better not have that open while I Alt W. Yeah, that's closing things. Great, wonderful. All these hotkeys getting in the way of what should be a fun stream. A little gnome named of Hazlen Kirkle was telling tall tales up in front of the patrons inside the bar. That's supposed to be some sort of Australian accent. But with enough beer and time, I'll probably fall into it. They found themselves drunk, drugged, and kidnapped by the dastardly pirate crew of the Wormwood. And in the morning, awoke on board the ship Miles at Sea. A dastardly Mr. Plug and his boss, Master Scourge. No, this is Master Scourge. This is Mr. Plug. Right? Yes. Gave them jobs aboard the ship. Spear, being a well-fit, athletic man, was given the job of a rigger, in which he was to climb various parts of the rigging of the ship and do jobs. He spent his first day on top of the crow's nest, which was a arduous experience, quite drying for him, as it had been, by the end of the day, almost 24 hours before he was able to get inside the water and heal his water-dependent body. Hazlen, on the other hand, found himself assigned the job of cook's mate, and upon walking into the galley, found that the job was going to be much harder than he had expected, due to a well-drunk chef by the name of Ambrose Fishguts Crew. However, he proved himself to be either very smart or very lucky, or both, for Hazlen was able to prepare a veritable feast for the crew of the Wormwood. And after telling a legendary tale, it was able to gain their willingness to learn to trust him. Spear, on the other hand, seemed to gain enmity in Master Scourge, maybe because of the attention of a red-headed woman, a priestess of Besmara, known as Sendara Quinn. But by the end of the day, our heroes met each other and struck up an uneasy alliance as the two newest press-ganged members of the Wormwood. And I think that is where we return to the ship, waking up early one morning. Aboard the Wormwood. It is quite crowded. Hold on, let's set the scene. Far out at sea, a large, simple-looking a large, simple pirate ship, flying a flag with a background of black, and a white skull and bones across a background of black, sailing through the waters. We can see some of the crew members beginning to stir in the early morning light. As the camera pans down through the many decks of the ship, through the captain's quarters, through the galley where our drunken chef is beleagueredly trying to prepare breakfast, and into the lower deck where we can see upwards of nearly 24 pirates hanging in hammocks down. The hold has a sense of stench around it, of body sweat and salty brine. And we can see that the men and women of the Wormwood begin to rise and make their way above decks. Almost all of them start heading in that direction. So we're gonna clear the deck a little bit. Move them up here for now. I think the boat begins to clear a little bit, the hold, as people start making their way up the stairs. When our six newest recruits are kind of left behind, still shuffling through the lockers along the walls. The camera moves past these four individuals and over to Hazlen and Spear. I think we start on Hazlen. He yawns. Shit. Damn, my frickin' hotkeys. Oh, they're gonna be the death of me. Come on. Come on. I'm probably gonna have to edit this episode more than I would like to. I thought assigning them to different buttons would be helpful this time, but I didn't realize that Control and W and E did so much. So let me change those real quick, because it's gonna be hella annoying otherwise. Back to alts. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. The gnomish man in the hammock here turns and rubs his eyes, and they glint green in the light. I think his seagull animal accomplice, Hawk, is probably pokes his head out from underneath his armpit as the gnomish man kind of leans over and rolls out of his hammock, unaccustomed to life sleeping aboard a pirate ship or any kind of ship. With that in mind, we should be rolling fortitude checks for our heroes, for him at the very least, to see how he feels on board the ship, if he's getting seasick at all on here. Wherever those seasickness rules are. Damn, do I need to start over completely? I don't know where these videos are dropping. Or how much I've seen. Sorry. Hazlen rolls out of his hammock and jumps up, ready to go for the day. His animal accomplice, Hawk, the seagull, pokes his head out from between his armpit and kind of flies up and lands on his shoulder. Gnomish Man grabs his silver hair and pulls it back into a low pony, trying to keep it out of his face, and is getting ready for the day. In the hammock next to him is a much taller, human-looking man, the Azarketu Spear Morphscout. His purple eyes are much less obvious than Hazlen's sparkling green, but what stands out on him are the gills on either side of his neck, and his jet black hair, almost in a pseudo-mohawk, being flanked by 2 bone ridges in his skull. Spear stands up, much more accustomed to waking up in time, and turns over, and is kind of standing there waiting for Hazlen to wake up. Hazlen? He asks quietly. Yeah? Well, what do you want? Hazlen says. Hi, Midnight. I'm having a few... hello, how's it going? The stream's dropped a couple times, but I think we should be stable now. What? Huh? What do you want? Hazlen says, trying to get that Australian accent to come back in. Let me drink some beer. What? Oh, what? All right. What can I do for you then? Well, Hazlen, Spear says, looking down at the gnome. We were going to speak with the quartermaster, see about getting some of our gear back. Oh, right. Yeah. That's not bad. We could easily do that. Just give me a mo. And he turns around, kind of like rifling through. I don't know what things does he have? Probably not much. Spear looks around and he can see the 4 new folks that were assigned jobs with him as well yesterday. And they're looking around. This human man, Crimson, and this gnomish man, Conchabar, are kind of like whispering and looking over at the 2 of them. And when Spear catches their gaze, they quickly keep walking and head up and out. Sandara nods to him and, well, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. And Spear nods. There's a halfling woman too, who stands in front of him, hands on her hips, looking up at him. Where is she? No. Where is she? All these hot bars. There we go. Oh, I always do that. Technical issues abound. She looks up at him. Huh. You don't look that tough. Did someone tell you otherwise? Ugh. I gotta remember where these hotkeys are. There we go. Hold on. Damn it. The second night is always the worst. In theater or in performances. The second time you run a stream or do a show It's always worse because you've got that kind of confidence from the last time, but you're also like making little changes here or there that are just completely throwing me off today. Right, so she looks up at him. Yeah, some of the other pirates we're talking about, they weren't really interested in messing with you. You look tough, but frankly, she looks up and down. I just don't see it. Well, thank you, Spear says. Yeah, no worries. Anyway, I'm fucking out of here. And she stomps up the stairs and into the next level. Spear looks over at Sandara, who she shrugs. Don't mind her. Rosie is a right sort, but she's got a chip on her shoulder. And honestly, I don't know a pirate who doesn't. Anyway, gotta get aboard. The ship's bell is about to ring. And indeed, as Sandara is walking away, you can hear the ship's bell begin to ring, calling all the crew above board. As Hazlen and Spear begin to make their way forward, 4 pirates proceed to block the way. 2 men and 2 women. One of them crosses his arms and says, "Where do you think you're going?" The other 2 look at him. Well, we've got to get on board. It's time to begin the work, Spear says in a deep accent. Here we go. Oh yeah? You want to work? Don't worry, we've got some work for you. Hazlen kind of looks at them. Hey, come on. The water is a touch too loud. Okay, let me go and fix that. Thank you. That should be a little bit better, I think. Let me do that. That should be better. Because we're about to start some music too. I bet that's definitely too loud. Okay, better. Thank you, Midnight. Hazlen looks up. We kind of need to go. And one of the pirates looks down at him. You in a hurry, bud? And as Hazlen steps forward, the pirate just kind of pushes him back. Spear comes up over here and says, "What is the meaning of this? What do you think you are doing?" And with that, I think we're going to roll initiative. None of these combatants are wielding proper weapons, so we're just going to be looking at non-lethal damage. We're fist fighting essentially at the moment. So I'm going to roll some inish for these pirates. They all have names too, which is super fun. Of course, Paizo has gone ahead and given every single crew member aboard the ship a name, an alignment, and a background, which is pretty awesome, but also a little intimidating. If you're like a new GM who, can't handle much, it would be quite a bit, I think. Even for me, as an experienced GM, I'm a little like, what am I supposed to do with all of this? Okay, let's go ahead and order. And Hazlen, nice. Hazlen goes first. We don't want any trouble. Now, kindly move on and let us through, huh? And he's going to do a diplomacy check. These enemies are starting off as, He probably is hostile, I would say. Let's double check. Areta, Phipps, Jaundice Jape, and Slippery Sill. Yeah, these crew members are all hostile. So he's going to have to roll at least a 25 to even affect them. He is getting a +1 from his performance last night, but that's still only a 6 on his diplomacy. Natural 20 could get us there. Diplomacy. An 8. And I think he's going to try and move past them. He like goes around as they're moving, and as he goes here, this pirate, who is Jaundice Jape, is going to go ahead and take a swing at him with his fist. So it's a +3 unarmed strike. Punching. 14. That's going to hit him. He's not wearing armor, and nor has he cast mage armor, so 14 hits on the dot. And that's going to be 1d3 +1 non-lethal points of damage. Shit. Only 2, but don't forget he's a rogue sorcerer gnome. He's not very tough. And Hazlen continues to move. That was 5, 10, 15, 20. If he moves again, he's going to keep provoking. 25. Yeah, we'll go there, and this woman here is going to go ahead and make a unarmed strike again against him. 12. Luckily, he knows well enough at this point and dodges out of the way. Areta Banchin does not hit. However, it is her turn next, so I think she squares up and, yeah, is just going to go ahead and try again. $18, that's definitely going to hit. For 3, at this point, she punches her fist into Hazlen's eye and leaving a right nasty bruise. Ouch! He grabs at his fist. What's the meaning of this? I think in the meanwhile, Hawk is flying behind him, kind of fluttering in the stairwell and squawking. Phipps here is going to move deftly through the hammocks and try and flank our man's spear. 5, 10, 15, 20. That is going to provoke an attack of opportunity from Spear, however, who unfortunately all he has is his fists. So we're looking at a +4 on an unarmed strike against him. It's really more of a brawl at this point. Punch. Spear rolls an 18. That's definitely gonna hit. These pirates only have a 12 AC. Good for him. He sees that these pirates, mean business, and is in no mood to try the diplomatic route. So as the pirate comes around to flank him, Spear turns and says, "Oh no, you don't!" and throws a punch, landing for 6 points of damage, max damage. Very nice. The Phipps finds himself completely taken aback by this, and manages to swing around, returning the punch for 13. That's going to hit, I'm pretty sure. Yep, because our man Spear is not wearing any armor. So max damage against him. Spear's a lot tougher than these guys and can take a hit. It is Spear's turn as well, so he's going to go ahead and keep punching. Keep punching. A 6. He takes the hit to his chest and then tries to like bring both of his fists together and slam it against the pirate as well, but to no avail. Jaundice Japier is going to take a 5-foot step and continue the same route. Slash roll 1d20. Let me just roll it in here. It's kind of faster. Yeah, he goes out to like kick at Hazlen, much as he did the day before on board when Hazlen first woke up, trying to recover from his drugged hangover, but to no avail. Slippery Sill over here, a lithe-looking woman, takes a 5-foot step forward and takes advantage of this flank that Phipps is providing her, but Spear is too good for it, notices her coming, and is able to duck down underneath her strike. Hazlen, he finds himself kind of backed up against the stairwell here, wondering if he can like crawl up and climb out. I think he's going to go ahead and use one of his mythic powers. He's going to use one of his mythic powers to do a surprise attack. There it is, a surprise strike. So he's gonna, if he hits, he'll turn this into a sneak attack. Surprise strike. You can expend 1 use of mythic power to make a melee attack in addition to any other melee attacks you make this round. So he'll get 2 melee attacks with this. He's not good at fighting. Even if he hits, he's getting a 1d2 minus 1 to his damage. But here we go. I think he'll first pretend he's striking out at the man in front of him who is kicking at him, and instead turn his fist and strike it into Aretta's stomach. So she's flat-footed against this. Surprise! Oh, that is a 2 plus 4 is 6, so even flat-footed, that's not gonna hit. She kind of looks back, moves back and laughs at him, and in anger, he goes ahead and strikes out again. 14, that will hit. Unfortunately, he's only gonna do 1 point of damage because of his meager frame, and it's not a sneak attack. Things aren't looking too good for our heroes. They are outnumbered at this point. And in bad shape. Not bad shape. They're not in good shape. Aretta's going to go ahead and... she says as she moves into place to go and flank him. You're not getting out of here that easy, little one. And she's going to go ahead and strike down with her flank. 22, that is almost a crit. For 2 points of damage, Hazlen's not looking great. He might be knocked out. Let's see. The pirates are wanting a fist fight. They will fight for 8 rounds and then run on deck. We're looking at... Well, we're probably in 3 rounds now. So they can, fight pretty... They've got, we're maybe halfway through this combat. Phipps over here, now we're kind of in the place where in Pathfinder there's very little movement happening. And unfortunately our characters are, find themselves flanked by their pirate combaters. However, it's still not enough. Spear's keeping his fists up, ducking and weaving and dodging and bobbing. And as Phipps comes out to strike at him, Spear is also going to use one of his mythic powers for the day and do a sudden attack, which allows him to make an attack with advantage. So it's going to be 2d20 plus 4 to each of them. Right, so either of those are going to hit. Good job, Spear. 1d3 plus 3 non-lethal. 5 points of damage as Phipps comes out to like punch him. Spear comes down with his purple eyes and hits up into Phipps' chin, and the man goes backwards, falling into the hammock, rolling, spinning in it, and onto the ground. We'll say knocked out. Technically, he would just be, what's the word, staggered at 0 hit points and not unconscious. But I think that's a good spot for him. As that was a sudden attack. Spear still has one more attack, so he's going to go ahead and turn around, kicking out at the woman behind him. 7, no good. She sees it coming. Phipps, you're out. Jaundice kind of sees what's happening, or he hears the commotion over there, and he's like, "Hey, Phipps, you all right?" As he goes to like kind of rail on the gnomish man beneath him. Natural 20, that could potentially confirm. 15, that confirms. He's going to crit on Hazlen. Holy shit. So that's going to be 2d3 plus 2. 5 points. Hazlen, he's not looking good. He's battered and bruised left and right. Slippery Sill here returns back the shout. Oi, he's knocked out Phipps! And I think she's going to go and, she's going to keep punching as well. That's -2, but Spear is on the defensive. He's already knocked one out, and there's this look in his eyes, like this determined focus in his thin mouth begins to burst into a grin, as if he's enjoying this combat. I'm not doing too good. Hazlen's gonna 5-foot step here. No, because he's not going to be able to get away, per se. Shit, Hazlen, what are we going to do? I want to cast a spell, is what I want to do. He's a sorcerer. But he doesn't have great spells. Shit. He's trying to get away, honestly. He's just trying to get away at this point. Yeah, he's gonna move here, and as a swift action, expend another one of his mythic powers to use Deadly Dodge. So he's getting a +4 dodge bonus to his AC till the end of his turn, which puts him at an 18 AC now. If he misses, he'll, he's just trying to get away. So he's gonna step here, and Jape is going to get an attack of opportunity. 12. Either way, that's a miss. 5, 10, 15, 20. What are we looking at? 20-foot speed. So the gnome goes running under the hammocks, just trying to get away. Areta Banshin says, "It's not worth it. We've already done enough damage to him." And she's going to go and step up here and make her way off deck. Back to Spear, he's looking at Syl and he says, "Do you also wish to leave?" And he's going to go ahead and throw a punch at her. +3 or +4? What have I been doing? +4. 7. He throws a punch. You know what? I think the battle is taking over him, and he's going to use another one of his mythic powers to do a sudden strike and roll with advantage. 11 + 4, that's gonna hit, so he's gonna go ahead and do some damage. 5 points of damage. He kind of like does a 1-2 punch, and the second one hits her squarely on the jaw. I think Jape here, though, is probably gonna keep moving as well, and up the steps. "Come on, Syl, it's not worth it!" And he heads up. Syl will take a 5-foot step back, and she kind of like spits on the ground, blood from her mouth where Spear punched her in the face. She says, "You'll pay for that," and runs upstairs. Okay. So we've got like a whole crew up here now. Technically, all of these people should be on the upper deck. So we'll go ahead and copy paste most of them and move ourselves over. Oof, that's a lot of pirates. A lot of pirates. I'm gonna move her off the map. And we'll head out of here. Into some more calming music. Spear and Hazlen look at each other below deck. Look at each other below deck. And I think Spear goes over to Hazlen, who he's very much beat up at this point. Are you okay? Am I okay? Am I okay? Do I look okay? The gnome looks up at him, tears welling in his green eyes. Please, you are quite injured. Well, maybe you cannot work today like this. Don't tell me what to do, all right? I can do exactly what I want, and it's not like you were doing anything to help me. Listen, Hazlen, I was being attacked as well. It's horses. What is this music? Let's switch to this one. Also not okay. We'll just stick with the ocean. Hazlen, it is clear they had it out for us. I know you are used to being liked, but hey, what would you know about being liked? You big old himbo? As he's looking up at him, they kind of start to laugh for a minute. Let me at least heal you. Spear says to Hazlen, can you, what? And Spear kneels down, and he grasps at the holy amulet around his neck. And then begins to move his hands over Hazlen's body. So we're going to go ahead and cast Cure Light Wounds. Is there a spot where I can... There we go, track my spells. And so he casts Cure Light Wounds over Hazlen's body and is going to heal 7 points of damage. Very nice. Where did Spear's token go? Back here, I suppose. It's going to heal back 7 hit points. Even though this was all non-lethal, you can see, Hazlen was in no danger of dying from this damage, but it's still painful and still hurts him. And so we see that maybe the black eye over Hazlen's face fades away, and he can feel some of the weariness of his bones and muscles that were punched. Kind of that pain and weariness begin to fade away. As the two of them, we should probably be going up top now, Spear says. As the two of them make their way up top, you can see Mr. Plug is yelling at the Mr. Plug. You can see that he's yelling at the pirates up top. Well. In fact, he has his... he kind of grabs the whip out of Master Scourge's hands, and is whipping the three pirates that came up top late, the ones that caused the fight. This will teach you to be late on deck. And he throws 3 lashes against each of them. And then as Spear and Hazlen arrive up top, he turns onto them. And he grabs the other side of the whip and, cracks it and looks at them. And you, too. Wow. Second day at sea, and already you're flouting the rules. I think Spear stands up. There we go. Pokes his chest out. But it is not our fault for being late. Those 3, they started a fight. I don't care about who started what. When the bell rings on the main deck, you are here to begin the workday. Extra punishment for your impertinency. And I think, at that point, he's probably like, I don't know, it's hard. How do you, how do you let yourself just be punished? I guess the other pirates, Master Scourge and some of his other minions grabbed them and held them up against the railing. So as they come on board, Master Scourge Master Scourge gleefully grabs Spear and holds him down, pulling his arms onto the railing, along with another pirate who comes over and grabs Hazlen, and they turn them around. Master Scourge whispers in Spear's ear, "I'm not going to make life easy on the ship for you," as Master Scourge lashes them both with his whip. This is going to do some damage. I think there's a section here for punishments, because the book here, very clearly wants you to dislike Master Scourge and Mr. Plug. Piratical punishments. The lash. This is an attack using a whip. Damage dealt by the lash during bloody hour is typically non-lethal. So maybe the lash actually happens at the end of the day, which is when bloody hour happens. Always at the end of the day. Although the victim is bound, the punishers simply lash their weapons and are not allowed a full round action to make a coup de grace. A roll of 1 on such an attack is treated as a non-damaging fumble. It still counts as a strike, much to the amusement of the crew. So maybe, scratch that. Before he lashes anyone, he says, "The 5 of you, you will meet me after work today before dinner is served to earn your punishments during the bloody hour." And he looks around. "Where is Phipps?" I think the Jape says, "Well, he's that one knocked him out below deck." And Mr. Plug looks at Spear appraisingly. "Not only will you receive extra lashes for your impertinency, but I'll give Phipps extra lashes too for sleeping on the job." ho, ha, 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 hee, 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 hee. All of the other pirates who were on deck in time begin laughing as well, looking forward to the bloody hour punishments which serve as entertainment at the end of the day. So part of the rules for the Skull and Shackles adventure path, during each day at sea, the book basically has you roll for doing work in a pirate's day. You can see that here in the adventure path. If you're a swab, you've got swab tasks. If you're a rigger, you've got rigger tasks. If a PC fails in these tasks, they gain a number of lashes at the end of the day. I'm not too keen on rolling this every day. I think probably before the next session next week, I'll probably sit down and roll them all for however many days we're at sea. It's about 20 odd days or so. I'll go ahead and roll them now, just because since I didn't do it already. And it does help for roleplay purposes. 4s for both of them. So for Spear, he's given his task today is to do rope work, and so he's directed with some of the other riggers to handle the ship's ropes, coiling them, stowing them, and securing them. It's going to require a DC 10 Profession Sailor check. He should be able to knock this out well enough. He gets a +5. Thanks, Jamoski. Yeah, it's especially during the session and I'm playing by myself. It makes it a lot easier to just kind of like, I can see the flow of how the next few sessions are going to go while we're at sea. And already I'm like, I want to get this out of the way. A part of me is like, do I even want to roll it? But it does kind of help for roleplay purposes at a certain point. With the first day when Hazlen had to prepare the ship's feast, that helped change the course of the adventure, and it made him more popular amongst the crew. Indeed, I think a few of the pirates are maybe come over to Hazlen as he's like kind of standing there on board and say, hey buddy, you all right? The AP also outlines members of the crew. So I can see that here in yellow, we've got a few different pirates who start off as indifferent. So I'll go ahead and say Ratline Ratsburger, this neutral male halfling with a rat face and long arms and missing fingers, goes up to Hazlen and kind of like pats him on the back. You okay, buddy? It seems like they roughed you up pretty good. Don't mind them. They're bad sorts, but there are a few of us on board that we're pretty okay. And Hazlen like kind of rubs the back of his neck. Oh, right. Thanks. I really appreciate it. Perhaps maybe tonight I can tell you another tale about what it's like to be the most unpopular person on deck. And they both laugh. I'm going to go ahead and give Hazlen a diplomacy roll for that, just because he rolled exceptionally well last night telling a story, and so is gaining a +1 on all checks made to influence crew members today. 14. So considering that Ratface is starting at indifferent, that is not enough to properly sway him onto his side. Ratline kind of nods and moves on, not really bothered, just being polite. So let's look at the chef's job today, the cook's mate. Number 4. Turtle hunting. Hunting leatherback sea turtles with harpoons, treble hooks, and nets. A DC 10 profession fisherman or survival check provides enough food. Right. So Hazlen makes his way back down into the lower decks. I've got too many fucking pirates on board this ship. Like, too many. And he comes down. He's got some health back. And makes his way down. He sees a very largely built man who's sitting up amongst the crates with a club at his feet, half naked. He's heard this man referred to as the owl bear, and he looks up. And the owl bear just kind of nods at him, eating some chicken bones and throwing them to the side. Hazlen kind of scurries around him and into the galley. Ambrose is here, and there is a 50% chance that he is too drunk to function. So I'll go ahead and flip my lucky coin from Quest for Glory Heroes U, and if we get a Shamrock, he is sober. He's sober today. Ambrose looks up at the young man as he comes in. Hey, if it isn't the little burgeoning chef-to-be. Welcome, welcome. Sorry about yesterday. I might have been a little too drunk to help out, but the chef gave you the captain gave you strong recommendations, commendations, and it seems the crew really liked your feast. Honestly, I don't know if I could have done it better myself. Oh, gee, thanks, chef. Glad to be of service. What do we have on on board for today? Well, today we're running kind of low on ingredients for turtle soup, so I was hoping you could do some fishing, find some turtles, and then we could make some turtle soup. When I say that Ambrose is sober, I mean sober enough. Essentially, he's still got a bottle in his hand, but he's not completely out of it. Okay, chef. Fishing, yeah. All right. Here's the net. Honestly, just peek your head out one of the windows here on the middle deck, and it'd be easy enough for you to lay out nets and watch closely for turtles swimming by. Okay, all right. So, according to the Wormwood here, we need to make a DC 10 survival check. Luckily, our animal accomplice, Hawk, is here, and so as he goes to poke his head out, Hawk flies out. Luckily, Hawk is giving Hazlen a bonus to his survival. Let's see. Hazlen, survival. Yeah, which is +3 because Hawk is helping. Let's hope this works. So Hawk kind of points out turtles that come and go, and kind of dives down, maybe carrying the other side of the net for Hazlen. Unfortunately, that's a 9. Not good enough. So with a failed check results in a day in the bilge as punishment the following day. Oh, that's unfortunate. Day 2. Hazlen fails his check. Did I roll for Spear already? Yes, I did. He got that 14. Hazlen fails his chef duty. Day in bilge tomorrow. That sucks. But by the end of the day, well, the day before the day ends, I think sometime after noon, Hazlen and Spear have a chance to steal away and meet here on the middle deck. Spear comes down, kind of comes over. Hey, Hazlen? What? I'm terribly busy, Spear. If I don't catch these turtles, I just know that I'm going to get some sort of right nasty punishment. And honestly, after the lashes I'm going to receive today, I don't think I can afford that. All right, but you said you could try and introduce me to the quartermaster? Maybe get our stuff back? Oh, right. Yeah, let's go talk to her. She's right through those doors. And so the two of them make their way down and into, well, actually the quartermaster's room is over here. So they move into the galley where Ambrose is busy stirring at a pot. It smells very fishy, I think. And he kind of looks up. Oh, is this your friend then, Hazlen? We kind of, I guess we might be friends? Well, I don't really know. I just met the guy yesterday. Spear kind of looks around. I do not have too many friends. Oh, well, that's fine enough. I don't have too many friends, and honestly, I think it's kind of hard to make friends aboard this ship. That seems sad, Spear says. Right, friends, whatever. We're gonna go talk to the quartermaster, eh? And Ambrose just kind of nods, maybe wanders over here and begins stirring at something else. The door opens up to the quartermaster's office. We haven't been in here in the store yet. It's a very cramped storeroom. And inside we can see Cutthroat Grok. Nope. Here she is. A half-orcish woman, maybe sitting on a... maybe kind of like digging through some stuff. She's got some chests and some trunks and some barrels open, and she's like organizing what stuff she has in here. She turns around when the men walk in. Hey, shouldn't you be working? She says. Don't worry, it's just me, Grok. The little funny one. You are good cook. You tell good tales. Right, that's me. This is a Spear. We came on board yesterday, and, well, actually, we were kind of wondering where some of our stuff are. There we go. I gotta get these hotkeys right. Oh, yes, you get some stuff back, too. And she goes digging through a chest. And she's going to go ahead and give Hazlen, well... is she going to give Hazlen all of her stuff back? All of his stuff back? Or am I going to make him roll a check first? I feel like I should just give him all of his stuff back. It's not hard. There is a chance to kind of like talk with her. So let's see. We're going to go to the Wormwood's officers. Cutthroat Grok. She's indifferent. If Grok is made friendly, she allows them after, where they can negotiate for equipment with her with additional diplomacy checks. So maybe you got to make her friendly first. Let's go ahead and have Hazlen roll a diplomacy check to even see if they can begin the conversation here. He is getting a +1 from his conversation, his storytelling last night. So, and she's at indifferent, which we're looking at like at least DC 15. 14. It is not his day. He's in trouble. Oh no. No. I am much too busy, and you should be working, little one. Excuse me, Grok, but our things were taken unrightfully from us. That is pirate's life. You no want to be pirate? It's not that, Spear says. Oh, it's just, my things are quite precious to me. He kind of like taps the medallion, the holy medallion of Besmara, a wooden skull and crossbones around his neck. And if I were not to be reunited with my gear, then I fear Besmara might be mad, send us bad waters. She has blessed me with certain abilities that I do not understand. This isn't so much a bluff. I'm going to go ahead and call this a diplomacy for Spear as well. He's only rolling a +2, so the likelihood of this working is awful. Grok slams her fist down. Nope. No, I've made it clear that you both need to be working. Just because I am nice and friendly half-orc doesn't mean you can trick me and ply me with honeyed words. Out! Shit. She slams the door in their faces. Well, that could have gone better, I think. Oh, gee, really? You think? I thought being a pirate would be a lot more fun than this. And our heroes go back to their workday. At the end of the day, they will receive their lashes. Them and the 4 other pirates are tied to the masts of the upper deck. Let's head up there. I think we could clear people away just a little bit. Their backs facing the exterior. Who do we got here? Barefoot Sam, Tilly Brackett. Here's Jape. He's going to be tied up as well. And then we've got, she's tied up here. And then Phipps from down below. What's the point of even bringing him up here? He's going to get those lashes, and it's going to hurt. So for the other 3 pirates, we don't need to worry, but we're going to go ahead and roll for these 3 strikes to see if our heroes even make it through these attacks. Well, yeah, Master Scourge will hand out the punishments. So Mr. Plug kind of like walks back and forth. Well, Master Scourge, why don't you do your best? And Master Scourge laughs. My pleasure, Mr. Plug. And he's going to go ahead and start whipping our boys. So I'm going to roll. He gets +6s to this. So I'm going to go ahead and roll 3d20 against Hazlen, who he's tied up. When you're tied up, I don't think you can get a chance to dodge. And according to our rules for punishments, the life of a pirate, piratical punishments. Although the victim is bound, the punishers simply lash their victims on the main deck and their backs stripped for punishment. So their shirts are pulled off or maybe cut open. There's still a chance for a roll of a 1, and even though they're bound, they can dodge things. I don't know. If you're tied up, what ability do you have to dodge? And also, why even bother rolling dice for that? But I guess there's always the chance for a fumble. So here's 3d20 for Hazlen. Those are all going to hit. And here's 6d20. Oh, one of them is a crit. One of them is a 1. So we'll just go ahead and cancel those that that crit, I guess, with that one. So we're going to look at 5 strikes for Spear and 5 strikes for Hazlen. We're looking at 1d3 plus 2 damage. Holy shit. That's crazy. 1d3 plus 2. So that's, for Hazlen, that's 3d3 plus 6. In Haslin's current state, that is going to knock him out. He's KO'd. Wow. And 5d3 plus 10 for Spear is 19. So as the sun is setting on day 2, our heroes find themselves, have their backs stripped, tied up against the mast with their backs facing out next to these other pirates. And Master Scourge gleefully dances around them, a whip flashing and blood spattering against their backs as they pass out from the pain, unable to move or withstand the attacks. And that's the end of day 2 aboard the ship. That's no good. That is no good, my friends. I think they're left up top here. So we're going to go ahead and kind of move things aside for now. Move things around. These 3 are unconscious, and Master Scourge is gone. But the 2 of them find themselves slowly waking up as Sandara Quinn is hovering over their bodies, praying, her hands glowing with a blue, liquid-looking light as their wounds are healing. Despite being non-lethal, they're waking up. It's nighttime. Some time has passed. And she also has maybe a bowl of what was supposed to be turtle soup, which is now just a fishy liquid, next to them. 2 bowls for their dinner and some rum from their rations. Oh, you're awake. Besmara bless. I'm sorry about that. You didn't deserve that kind of punishment. And Master Scourge, she looks over her shoulder to make sure she's not being listened to. The man's an asshole. Takes any chance he can to take out his shortcomings on the fellow crew. I'm sorry. Thank you, Spear says, looking at her. You didn't have to do that. I know that I didn't, but to be honest, my reasons for helping you are selfish ones. He's got it out for me, the Master. Him and Mr. Plug both. I spurned his advances a few nights ago, right before you came on board, and ever since then he's been trying to find mistakes with my work, reasons to punish me as he's been punishing you. But Hazlen, is kind of wincing as the blood-soaked lines up his back are healing from Sandara's magic touch. But Captain Harrigan, well, he seems a right sort. Why would he let Master Scourge and Mr. Plug run a ship like this? Sandara tries to hold back a laugh. Captain Harrigan, I don't think you've spent much time with him. And she looks over to the aft, where the captain's quarters are, up these stairs. No, through these doors next to these stairs that go up to the upper deck. Captain Harrigan is a bastard, an evil man, one of which I don't think I've ever encountered, a man of such audacity and who finds such glee in suffering. from what I've heard of him, he earned his rank as a free captain through slavers. And, well, most pirates that I keep with completely stand fast against slavery. I mean, there's those who don't, but those who do, even, if we steal, stealing and raiding is nothing foreign to us, but for me, at least, when it comes to the ownership of someone's life, I find it reprehensible. Oh, well, I'm quite glad to hear you say that, Miss Quinn. I don't think we've met you, although your people already around the ship are talking about the great tales you tell. Well, thank you, Miss Quinn, Sandara Quinn. Nice to meet you. I'm Hazlen, but you probably already knew that as well. And this is Spear. Yes, Spear and I, we were able to speak last night. Spear just kind of has been sitting there silently. He's kind of smacking his lips, his mouth dry and parched like sandpaper. If you don't mind, Sandara, I need to dip into the waters once again. And she kind of shakes her head. Oh, right. I wondered if you needed to do that again. You told me last night that, well, it's something you need to do every now and then. At least once a day, if possible. Otherwise, things start to hurt in ways you could not understand. Nor would I want to, but I hope that Besmara does, at least. And so Spear turns around, grabs one of the ropes behind him, and throws it out over the edge of the ship. He's on the port side of the ship. And as he starts to climb over, Hazlin's like, whoa, where are you going? What are you doing? And Sandara reaches out a hand and touches the gnome's shoulder. Besmara only knows, but why? But his people, the Gilman, or the Azaketi, I suppose, is what he told me they call themselves. They're blessed in being able to live under the waters, unlike you and I, but from what Spear explained, his body starts to cease functioning if he isn't able to spend at least some time in the water. And down far below, Spear is kind of like sliding down the rope like a trained sailor. And as he pencil dives straight into the water with nary a splash, his hand holding the side of the deck, the barnacle-encrusted deck, to keep himself from slipping under. His other hand holding onto the rope, the water rushes into his pores once more, filling him with that hydrogenated life force. After a moment or two, maybe a full minute, he begins climbing back up the rope, easily enough, and onto the other side. The sound of laughter and cheers come from down below. And as the three of them make their way back into the hold, they move around everyone in the lower hold and head back to the back here, where I think they're settling in for the night. It's been a rough-ass day, honestly. And Hazlen and Spear need all the sleep they can get. Let's move on then. That's taking us to day 3. We've yet to make any friends on board, and Hazlin's used up his storytelling skills. I think I do want to give him a diplomacy check on Ambrose before he does anything. Ambrose is currently indifferent. 23. Okay, so I think Ambrose is sitting down there with a little extra rum. Or rather, no, Sandara has handed them the fish soup and says, it seems you've got a friend in fish guts, though. He made sure that, he wanted to make sure that you two at least got some sort of dinner. Well, you specifically, Hazlen, as his assistant. Oh, thank God. All right, thank God. Thank the gods. I don't know what I would do if I didn't get any supper tonight. Swallows down that fishy lack of turtle soup. And, yeah, at that point, they all bed in for the night. Let's head back to the AP. Well, their punishments are, well, unfortunately, in the morning, instead of getting a job, Hazlen is being sentenced to swabbing the bilge. So we'll look at a pirate's day. He's got to man the bilges. As the three of them come up for their new ship's duties. Nope. Mr. Plug looks down at Hazlen, who looks not great, all things considered. I also feel like at some point I should be doing fortitude checks to avoid exhaustion as they're working. I did see that at some point. Here, normally can take 2 ship actions each day, one during the day and one at night. We didn't take any actions at night, except maybe the only thing we did was go straight to sleep. They make a constitution check to do an extra action or be fatigued for the next day. We wanted to avoid the fatigue and to heal the damage, so instead for their nighttime check, they should have gotten a +4 bonus for working digitally, but they did want to go to the shop, which means they should have taken a -2 penalty. There's just so many rules, almost too many rules, and it gets in the way of the story. But they went to bed early and slept through the night. So today, Spear is doing lookout. He climbs back up to the crow's nest, making a series of climb checks. Master Plug is like, all right, Spear, you're back on the crow's nest. Climb on up. And Spear will go ahead and do just that, climb checks. He's getting a +6. Before I make this check, I do want to see if there are any other things I want to do. Maybe visit the quartermaster's store again. We need to get our stuff. We could try to influence. Yeah, I think he's going to go back to the quartermaster's store. He's got some good armor and armor in there that he would really, really, really like to get back. Whereas I think Hazlen, I mean, he's in the bilge, so he's going to be working diligently. He doesn't have any kind of chance to get away, so he'll get that +4. So for how many climb checks is that? 4 or 5 climb checks. We're moving at quarter speed, which is 5 feet for him. Maybe 10 feet. So that's like 6 climb checks. 60, 20 +6 on each of them. Easy enough. He needs to hit a 10. So, but that's not totally great. I don't know. It's fine enough. He's able to climb up. He's a professional sailor. So maybe he takes some non-lethal damage, but that's not going to bother us in the long run, all things considered. And he's going to make a perception check once he's up here, DC 10. Yep, barely makes it. So he's up there doing that. Our good friend Hazlen, on the other hand, is manning the bilges. Vile and sweaty wet, cleaning out the bilges requires a DC 12 strength check. Oh, shit. He gets a -1 on strength checks. So Hazlen finds himself climbing down into the bilge. Oops. 14, there we go. Into the bilge. The bilges is a awful area. We'll start off with a DC 12 strength check. Roll 1d20 -1. But he's working diligently. So that's a +4. So he's going to get -1, 0. No, 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, +3 on that. 22. All right. And he needs to make a constitution check to avoid fatigue. I'm going to give him that +4 bonus on this as well. So he's actually rolling a +6 here. Oops, no. He's rolling +5, which is still a natural 1. So he is also fatigued at the end of the day. Let's look at the bilges, because there's some special stuff going on in here, unfortunately. The bilges, as Hazlen climbs down the stairs here, the ladder, he climbs into a foul, damp place with thick cobwebs above and 1 to 2 feet of dark, brackish water that stinks abominably below. It just smells. And there's a single bilge pump resting near the stern. He looks around and he can see several masterwork manacles fixed to the bulkheads in the forward portion of the deck. There's also a 25% chance that a single bilge spider drops down and attempts to bite. So 1d100, 25 or lower, no bilge spider drops down. Hazlen goes over to the pump and just sits there, pumping in the darkness. He's left Hawk up above, and Hazlen is thinking to himself, I think this is a great spot to bring in our motif story engine. This is a place where we can help add some randomness to our adventure. And I don't know Hazlen and Spear 100%. I'm giving them specific personality traits that will kind of change things overall. But a part of me here wants to know, how much is Hazlen going to blame Spear for his being down here? It was Spear's fault, mind you, that they went and talked to Grok, which nothing came of it there. It's a kind of a yes or no. Does Hazlen blame Spear for him having to work the bilges that night, that day? On the favorability, we're gonna roll 3d6, and on the first one it'll be a no, maybe yes. On the second one, we'll get a degree of what, like how much he hates him, or maybe he doesn't at all. If it's a no, maybe he doesn't blame him at all for it. I think we'll ignore... We could ignore the third die for now. Mainly comes in for specific stuff. But if the first two, give... I don't know. Well, let's see what happens. I actually haven't rolled these yet. So I'm going to roll 3d6. 2, 3, and 2. That's 1 to 2 is a no. Hazlen doesn't blame Spear for him needing to be down here. The second one is a 3. It's mundane, cheap, or barely passable. He could blame him. He could say, oh, fuck that guy. But honestly, Spear didn't have anything to do with it. They both got into that same fight yesterday, and they're both missing their things. Hazlen was definitely willing to go with him. He didn't say anything. And another 2, so we're looking at, obviously they're in unfavorable conditions. And he's fatigued. By the end of the day, he's just too tired to worry about any of this, to worry about the fact that him and Spear, he needs an ally while he's here. And I think Spear spends his day working. I didn't roll He's also going to try and influence someone on deck today. So while Hazlen is busy pumping the bilges down below, the camera pans up and up, back onto deck. Where Spear is maybe a little bored, maybe looking for someone to talk to while he's up here. Let's go up deck. There's still a lot of people here. Not everyone is on deck at the same time, but I think it's nice to show just how many people are on board the ship, how crowded things can get at some point. Let's look for a fellow rigger. I think here's Barefoot Sam's Toppin, a former fisherwoman from the Soddenlands who never wears shoes. Because everyone else in the indifferent place are swabs. We're not even going to deal with any of the hostile people. These are also hostile. I just need to. So maybe a little bit after midday. A middle-aged fisherwoman begins climbing up the rigging, looking around for knots that need to be tied, and going around. And Spear sees her, and he's like, "Hello." She looks up. Huh? What? How goes it? Oh well, nice of you to ask. I'm doing all right. It's not an easy job up here, out on this boat, but it's there are a few folks that are nice to talk to, and well, honestly, I've been working here for a while, and the pay isn't bad. You do what's right, and the captain, well, he pays you fairly. Really? How much do we get paid? Oh well, we don't get paid until we raid a ship. Oh. That I suppose that makes sense. I just never thought. Well, right? You never thought you'd be entering into a life of crime? No. I've been on the wrong side of the law sometimes, but mostly when it comes to bar fights and the odd port here and there. Sure. Well, for me, it's a lot better. Oh, by the way, Sam's the name. They call me Barefoot Sams because, well, I never wear shoes. Oh, well, that should be easy to remember. Thank you. This very tan-skinned woman kind of like looks him up and down. At that, we'll go ahead and roll a diplomacy check. We're looking at a DC 15 to change her attitude, which isn't great, honestly, especially considering that he's rolling with a +2, but he needs friends. We're kind of, I think Spear's a little bit desperate after that second day here. And so we're going to go ahead and use a mythic power surge and add a plus 1d6 to this roll. This comes from being a mythic, he's being on the mythic tier, being a mythic character. And so I think, like, as he's talking to her, maybe his holy symbol spills out, or the wind just kind of blows, and his black hair kind of blows in the wind, and the clouds kind of start to move around him. And as he gains this sort of mythic kind of charisma as he's speaking with her. 21! So look, we didn't even need that surge. It was just a 1. But still, Sam's kind of looks at him, and she's like, Spear, was it? I gotta say, it quite unfortunate what happened to you yesterday. I know that Jape and his crew, well, the real suck-ups to Master Scourge. And Spear kind of looks down at the deck real quick, hoping that no one's listening, and she kind of waves them off. No, don't worry about it. From up here, no one can hear us. The wind takes away all of our words. And she kind of like motions with her hand in the wind. Oh, right. Well, thank you. No, yeah, don't worry about it. And honestly, you seem a right sort. It's hard to meet anyone on board who really cares about things. Yeah, pro tip, Barefoot Sam's Toppin is the only good person aboard this ship. Everyone else is some flavor. Well, she's one of two good people. Everyone else is some flavor of neutral or evil. There is a female gnome with one eye who's a swab who is also neutral good. We can see that here. But like out of a crew of 20 odd something pirates, there are only two good members here. Makes sense. It's not like completely of odd foreign concept, but it does make sense. Day 3, Hazlen, fatigued, Spear, befriends, Barefoot Sam's. You may be wondering why I'm writing this down. If the adventure eventually, this first portion of the adventure path eventually leads us to mutiny, and we're I'm trying not to metagame it, but at some point we need as many allies as possible aboard this ship. Most of the crew here were press ganged into service, just like Spear and Hazlen. And so I think there are definitely folks who are looking to make allies, to figure that out. And so finally, I mean, Sandara is always going to start off as an ally. And Hazlen has definitely gained the trust of Ambrose, Fish Guts, the chef. So at the moment, our two heroes have 3 friends on board. Thank God. Ooh, right. Better get back to work, but hope you have a good one. We'll talk soon. Right. Well, Besmora bless. Oh, sure. She waves a hand. Besmora bless. And she goes on with her work, tying and retying some of the knots aboard the rigging here. We'll head into night actions. Now as we're going, these days are starting to move a little faster. Night actions. Hazlen is going to go straight to sleep. We want to automatically recover from fatigue. I could try and make a check to do something and go to sleep early, but he's tired. He just spent the whole day in the bilge. He's stinking. He's not happy. He'll probably do a little prestidigitation. So before... Oh, no, he can't. He doesn't know He does. As a gnome, he does know it. So before he heads to bed, he kind of like whistles and moves his hands as the dirt and stench begins to lift itself off of his clothes. And he kind of moves it through a window and into the ocean. Maybe 1 or 2 people are watching and they're like, they make a face. And he kind of ignores them and hops into his hammock, cuddling with the seagull hawk. For Spear, however, we've got some things to do. Sandara maybe, waves. We've talked enough with her, and I don't think that there's any reason to continue talking. But he's heard some shit. I don't know. He's gonna go and talk to Grok. She has his equipment. We're trying to recover our gear. Sandara has managed to acquire a few of the PC's items from Grok. See page 17. I forgot about that. To return their equipment and offer her friendship. She's managed to acquire 2 items of use for the PCs. These items should be ones that the two PCs would struggle to cope without, such as spellbooks or formula books, holy symbols, thieves' tools, or if no PCs have such requirements, 2 light weapons. I made it so that Hazlen, a Spear kept his holy symbol. So I think what will happen is they'll probably both. She's probably handed as they finish their work today. She hands them both daggers. So let me get that as well. Sandara gives them 2 daggers. Keep this on you. You never know when you might need it. Why is it doing that? It doesn't do it right away. It always does it later on. As we're like moving through things. We are approaching the end of the stream. So we're going to go ahead and do this last bit with Spear. Spearheads, well, where is Grok? She's drinking with the crew. I think, let's double check. She could be gambling, entertaining, influencing. Where is she? She loves an unusual drink and fine songs. In the evening, she locks the store and carouses on deck, drinking and gambling with the other pirates before returning to her cabin to sleep it off. Okay. Great. We aren't, I don't necessarily, like, we're not trying to gamble. We're not trying to make money. So he's probably just hanging out nearby as Grok is gambling and drinking rum with the crew and a few other pirates. I love switching in between them. I love it. I love it. So in between one of the rounds, she maybe stands up and rolls a little a cigarette and like kind of goes to the edge of the ship to light it, and has Spear moves over to talk to her. Excuse me, Quartermaster Grok. Huh? What is it? You again. I told you. You can't get your stuff back. Your goods are now the captain's booty. Right, but I wanted to tell you, honestly, I'm definitely metagaming here because I'm reading right here. Grok can be bluffed into believing items are cursed, and that'll give them a +4 circumstance. So yeah, he's definitely going to try and bluff. Spear's not normally that kind of person. It's not his go-to move. He's much more likely to try and intimidate someone than bluff. Although, TBH. All of his social skills are equally okay. We're looking at +2s in both of them. He is going to go ahead and use his mythic surge ability though to net us a +1d6 on this bluff check. So we're looking at 1d20 +2 +4 +1d6. Quartermaster Grok, I was not 100% honest the other day when I spoke with you about retrieving my goods. I must be more honest with you now when I say that if I do not get my things returned, then Besmara will curse you and me more than she has already cursed me. Cursed ye? What do you mean you're cursed? You don't look cursed to me. Well, here is the thing. And he goes down and he begins removing his boots. As they're kind of sitting there, she's looking at him odd, like, huh? What? He goes and he removes his boots. Now, this has to do with Spear's Oracle Curse. He has the Deep One curse. The lure of the ocean tugs at your soul. You reduce your base land speed by 5 feet. And if you already have a swim speed, which he does, you increase it by 10 feet. He pulls off his shoes, and you can see that his toes, which are webbed, are like very almost like they're like stuck together with some sort of like drying kind of paste and slime that's squishing around in his boots, and a fishy smell starts to fill the air. What is that? What's wrong with you? I've told you, Besmara has cursed me. I am gifted with her blessings as well, but my people who are already close to sea monsters, I am even more of one. That is why I have chosen to make my life here on the surface, to serve Besmara as much as possible. This is where the lie is starting to come in. That sounds... Anyway, life is hard. What should I care about it? Well, you should care, quartermaster. For the longer you keep my things from me, the more likely you are to suffer. We'll go ahead and roll this check now. 28! Hell to the yes. Okay. Things are finally coming around. On a successful bluff check opposed by Grok's sense motive, she has a +1 skill modifier. Let's see how this goes. +1. Sense motive. 14! Okay! Fuck to the yes! Thank God I needed this. These 2 days have been bad. She returns 10 GP worth of a PC's equipment for every point by which the PC's bluff check exceeds her sense motive results. So we're looking at, she rolled a 14, he got a 28. We're looking at 140 gold's worth of equipment. That's going to get, he could get back his spears with that. He could get back his light shield. He cannot get back his masterwork agile breastplate, and or his wand of cure light wounds. But she'll go ahead and give him, I think, most of his equipment and his weapons back for that. That's very nice. All right. I don't want Besmara's blessings, and I don't want to be blamed for when she causes this ship to crash and burn into the sea. Come with me. She's kind of drunk. Come with me if you want to live. Kind of sounding like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, yes, please. Thank you, quartermaster. And Spear gets back most equipment. Very nice. Sweet. We're coming into day 4 now. Spear puts his gear into the locker that is afforded each of the crew members of the Wormwood, and locks it with the lock that is there as well. But when the bell rings in the morning, him and Hazlen wake up fully healed, fully rested, in better spirits than they have been the last few days. Moving my notes along. Day 4. They start to work on some of their tasks. Hazlen comes up, let's say mid-morning comes around, and Hazlen is on the top of the deck, the main deck, breathing in the fresh air after, kind of getting out of the heat of the galley with Ambrose. Despite the fact that it is late April, it's still quite warm in this part of the world, although they have got their, being away from the more jungly type islands, there is still like some light humidity in the air, and Hazlen and Spear find themselves sweating in the morning sun. Young Jack Scrimshaw rushes on to deck. A young man comes out and goes to Mr. Plug and begins whispering. Any PCs on deck can make a DC 10 perception check to notice his ashen face, as well as overhear what he reports to Mr. Plug. Why bother with the perception check? Why bother with it at all? Because they're going to go down there anyway and see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and give this to both of them. They got +5s and +6. So they're able to overhear Jack speaking to Mr. Plug. In the bilge, I was working in the bilge, and there's a whole bunch of rats down there. I don't know, they knocked their way out of a dodgy consignment of barley. It's so hot down there today that they came out and started to try and bite me. It was awful. Mr. Plug looks around looking for volunteers, in air quotes. He points at Spear and Hazlen. You two, get down there and don't bother coming out until whatever is there is dead. He looks around and he sees Sandara standing nearby. Hey, you too, lady. Maybe Besmara will bless you out of this one. She kind of looks affronted and nods. Oh, I'm not scared. Besmara's always seen me through things, and they're just rats. And so the three of them begin to make their way down into the bilge to take on these rats. And that is where we'll end the session for today. I apologize for some of the more technical difficulties we had at the beginning of the stream. Internet's always going to be an issue. I don't know how much there is I can do about that. But I'm working with some new equipment today as well, and didn't really have the time I wanted to kind of like prep for things beforehand. I want to make sure that I'm pretty sure Manapot is streaming today before we set up for the raid. Please stay tuned for the raid. It really helps me kind of like do a proper networking, essentially. So the more people I have joining me in the raid, the more people we take over to a new channel, and I appreciate you being here and being a part of it, even just lurking today. Yeah, Manapot is there, so we're gonna go ahead and set up the raid for Manapot Studios. If you enjoyed, come on. If you enjoyed today's stream, you please give me a follow, and I also, if I'm going to unlock more emotes moving forward, I do need to get some more subscriber points. So I'm always looking for subs. If you enjoyed it as well, a couple bits here and there as a nice tip wouldn't be so bad. Now would it? But otherwise, thank you for being here. Like I said, please stay tuned for the raid. Certainly appreciate it. And I know that Manapot will as well. And don't forget to come back next Saturday for the third episode of The Spear and the Sea, where Spear, Hazlen, and Sandara make their way into the bilges to deal with the dire rats there. Midnight Aura, thanks for hanging out. Super great to have you here every week, as always. I'm really glad. I super appreciate your support as we go through this crazy and wild Twitch thing.